You might be wondering how someone else feels about you if you're watching this. And in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 ways to actually spot their current feelings for you. This will help you understand the energy dynamic better. This will help understand whether you're investing your time into the right things and to the right person, and whether or not you should continue to do or be the way you are, understanding how they feel. Now, the first thing to understand about love and about this type of, about interpersonal dynamics is simply that how you feel about you is projected out, and other people are picking up on that. Now, sometimes what we have a tendency to do is to tune ourselves to other people, trying to get safety or trying to get validation of how they're feeling. Now, in some ways, this can be good because you don't necessarily want to waste your time investing your energy into somebody that maybe isn't investing their energy back into you. And in many ways, this is something that we naturally do subconsciously, whether aware of it or not. So I know for myself in this process, it was sometimes very obvious how people felt about me, but I wasn't able to see it because I had a low sense of self-worth. So even though somebody may have been either flirting with me or wanting me to go to the next level with them or to go more intimate, it was like I wasn't able to pick up on the signs to actually see that because there was a belief that I had about myself that there's like no way somebody would want to be with me or want to have that kind of relationship with me. It was an interesting dynamic. But I've learned a lot over the last couple of years, and that's a lot what I want to share in this video with you. So the first thing and the first way to spot someone else's feelings for you is understanding that their actions sometimes speak louder than words. So the question is, how are they showing up for you? Are they there for you? Do they want to spend time with you? And how do they interact with you? So actions speak louder than words. A lot of times, so our vibration or our personality is made up of how we think, feel, and act. So one way that a lot of times people express their emotion and how they feel is through the actions they take. You'll find that these 3 things many times blend into each other. So if this is somebody that does even small little things sometimes, like opens up the door for you or asks you how your day was. If they text you in the morning, then they're obviously thinking about you when they wake up. And if they don't text you in the morning, doesn't mean that they're necessarily not thinking about you, but it may mean that they, but actions is a part of that. So we're sticking to actions right now. There's other subtleties here that we'll talk about in a minute. So in general, people also, you can tell how they feel based on also when you're in relation to them, in physical proximity to them, when you're around them. You can tell how they feel by the way they also position their own body language. You'll notice that people that sometimes people might be kind of closed off like this. That's a certain body language. Normally that's more closed off and kind of like a block energetically. When people are more open, a lot of times their heart might be open. They may face themselves towards you when you're talking to them, when you're having conversations with them. It's normally a good sign. It means they're open, they're receptive. So the first sign has to do with their actions, how they're showing up. If they're texting you, gauge the energy based on actually what you are seeing and what you're experiencing. Now, in some ways I say this, and then there's a tendency, because mostly the thing that I had to learn is how to not tune myself to every single thing someone else was doing. Because one, that decreased sexual polarity, because then I was like molding myself based on what I thought someone else wanted me to be and based on someone else's emotions. And one thing I had to learn to do is how to be safe in my own frame, safe in my own body, and not need to constantly understand where somebody else is at in order for me to feel safe. Now, this was a game changer for me when I learned this, because then I learned that I could lead in the energy. I could lead in the energy and like express how I felt, and then that would allow someone else to feel safe and then to understand that they could express that too, which is interesting and not enough talked about, but this is a part of this process of opening up and understanding emotional availability. Because sometimes if we're having trouble gauge somebody else's emotions, maybe we had trouble gauging our own parents' emotions when we were kids. And it feels familiar for us to like tune to somebody else. So that's the first way to spot their current feelings for you, with how they're showing out. Now, the second thing is very simple. And sometimes, as somebody that may have clicked on this video or someone that can feel other people's energies, what we call an empath, they may completely discount this, but it is so simple. You could simply ask someone and say, how do you feel about me? You could be in if this is the ongoing of a relationship, you just say like, how's everything feeling to you? How do you feel? You can ask somebody how they're feeling. You can be vulnerable. Remember, leading with vulnerability is one of the most attractive things that's also very underused in today's society. Because a lot of times there's this like projection that I have to pretend to be someone I'm not, or a certain way so that I'll be accepted. But when you are the most vulnerable you will find it is not only attractive, but it's refreshing, because it is so much more rare than it used to be. So you could, as a stretch maybe for you, maybe it's a part of you that does this, that's like afraid to do this, but you could literally be dating someone, go on a date with someone, and even ask somebody. Maybe you go out with somebody that you like, have a crush on, and you have feelings for them, and you're wondering how they feel about you, and you could literally ask them or express how you're feeling. Vulnerability is very attractive. And yes, there is a possibility that you could express it and they could not be receptive. But understand that you can really only reject yourself. So if they quote unquote reject you, then realize it's just not a fit. It's not something that you need to internalize as like, I'm not good enough. And a lot of times, people pleasers or people that are empaths, they tune themselves to other people and they're afraid of abandonment. They're afraid of rejection. So they don't almost make their emotions clear because they're afraid that they're going to get rejected or abandoned. So be vulnerable. Maybe ask somebody or tell somebody, listen, I have feelings for you, and that was something that I eventually had to learn to do, is to express myself from the very beginning. The earlier you do this, the best. Don't be afraid to show your intent, or don't be afraid to show your true intentions. Don't hide them. It's not healthy. And also, it's encouraging someone else to hide their true intentions. But you'll find that a lot of times when you lead with vulnerability, you get met with that. They will be vulnerable back with you, and then you save your time, because if they're not interested, or maybe they're not interested at first, but then they realize, oh, this person actually likes me. Maybe this is a potential. Maybe this is an option. But that decision is being prolonged as long as it's not something that's not even aware in the communication. Now, the third sign and third way to spot someone's feelings for you is that they value your opinion, or they value how you're feeling, and they actually listen to you. Sometimes a common personality that you might engage with is somebody that's completely full of themselves and completely narcissistic. They only care about what they have to say. I know people that I've met before, and they may talk for like hours and hours. Like they may talk 20, 30 minutes about themselves and never ask one question. And the conversation never gets shot back once. And that's because some people may have they may not have space, energetic space for you. And that's something to become aware of. If they actually have feelings for you, then they will listen to you. They will be able to hold space for you. And it's something to become aware of. Now, if someone is genuinely interested in you, because also here's the kicker. They're generally interested in you because you are generally interested in yourself. Not in a narcissistic way, but like, do you believe that you're interesting? Do you believe that you're worthy? Do you believe you deserve love? These are all things that will reflect back to you through the people that you date. But if you don't believe you're worthy, if you don't believe you're interesting, then that will be emanated through your own body language. They will feel that and maybe not reflect that back to you. Reflect whatever that belief is back to you. So this is something to become aware of too, is the stories you're telling yourself about who you are and how you show up in the world. Now, the fourth sign and the fourth way to spot their current feelings for you has to do with how they are energetically intertwining or like engaging with you when it comes to the energy. Do they smile? Are they flirting? Are they touching you? This is something that, once again, you can gauge based on how you do it and you lead with them. What you could do is you could smile to them. You could flirt with them. You could joke around with them. You could have a light sense of humor with them. And then you can engage and see how they are receptive. People are generally geared to mirror back the energy that we're putting out. But if we're very serious, that was the thing that I had trouble doing when I first was like dating someone, was showing my actual intent and flirting with them, touching them. I feel like growing up, I wasn't primed to having like a lot of nurturing and someone always holding me or nurturing me. So it was like touching also was a bad thing at a certain period of my life because of my ex-stepmom. So from 7 to 15 years old, if you were touched, you were hit. So it wasn't a good thing. I had to learn, though, when dating, I had to become comfortable with one, being touched, and it was something I always craved, but it was something that always kind of felt, I think there was like a subconscious thing there. But one thing you could do is, in a flirtatious way, not in a creepy way, you could put your hand and see if it is reciprocated. Kind of test the waters in a way. But also testing the waters because you want to express yourself in a healthy way, not in a creepy way. So smile, flirting. Another thing that they may do is respect boundaries. When we talk about the narcissism, like we were a minute ago, someone that just talks about themselves and only cares about themselves. If you were to say no to something, do they gaslight you or do they get mad? Or if they say no to you, do you feel rejected? Because that's something to become aware of. Respecting boundaries is something that you do when you really care and value someone in a healthy way. That means you don't try to talk them into things that they maybe don't want to do. You don't try to talk them into hanging out with you when maybe they have other plans. You don't guilt trip them into hanging out with you. So respect their boundaries, and then they will respect your boundaries as well. So that's something that also will kind of gauge how they feel and whether they're also secure in their own relationship with themselves. Now, another way that the fifth way that you could spot their current feelings about you is they may talk to their friends about you, talk to their family about you. And that expresses that they are, in a way, connected to you, and they're almost proud of it, in a way. That is something else that will show them, and you could also even express to them, if you're trying to gauge it, if you were to tell your friends or family about someone that you're dating or somebody that you're with, and it wouldn't be extremely weird if, like, you told your friends about, but the key to this is if you actually have feelings for them, to actually express to them that you have feelings for them. So being and leading in this way will save you a lot of time. Whether they're interested in you or not, you'll at least know one way or the other, or you'll at least plant the seed to then have the opportunity to reflect that energy back to you. So these are all things that help gauge where somebody else is at. Now, something I'm doing as well to help understand more of these kind of dynamics is I send my top epiphanies, my high vibe thoughts of the week. I send two or three text messages a week. So if you want to receive the text messages that I send and you live in the US or Canada, you can text me at 424-304-0104. You can also text me your questions. I'll be answering questions, putting those in YouTube videos, and you can click the link also in the top of the description box. That'll take you so that you can add me to your phone. So I look forward to that. And then also, there's a video right here, which is the 3 magnetic secrets that make you irresistible. It's one of my most popular videos. Watch this to take this concept to the next level. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 things that magnetic people do to pull you in energetically. I'm going to show you how you can adopt them in your life and how by the end of this video,